want to start this story by saying up before this event, I was a very trusting person. And I would say that I could always see the good in everyone. I had a big heart and a lot of empathy to give. After this experience, I keep my distance from people I don't know. All it takes is one bad experience with trust, and it's forever lost. I now live my life cautiously, always keeping an eye out for people who have bad intentions. I will always look over my shoulder. All of this took place when I was a younger woman. I was 24 and just graduated college and landed my first sales job in the city I lived in. I lived in New York City. If you've never been, it's a place you either fall in love with or absolutely hate. There is no in between. I lived alone in a minimalistic one bed, one bath apartment here in the city. It was expensive, but not outright outrageous like most places here. I had a serious relationship when I was in college. It lasted about 3 years. We decided to end it on good terms because we both wanted different things. He wanted a family, and I wanted a career. I kept myself pretty busy with work, working long hours, trying to prove myself in this robust industry. In sales, the only thing you have going for you is your personality and how hard you're willing to push yourself to be successful. And that was exactly what I was doing. I had been on a few dates, nothing serious, just testing the waters. And honestly, most cases was me just looking for one night stands to de-stress from the weeks of constant work. One of these dates, well, I should say one night stands, was with a man, we'll call him Danny. He was very sweet, kind, and just an all-around good guy. He didn't give off any red flags or bad vibes. He was the type of guy a girl could take to see her parents one day. After our hookup, he tried to stay in touch, and politely, I let him know that I wasn't looking for anything serious, that I was focused more on my job, and it required my constant attention. I thought he understood, but boy was I wrong. As the weeks went by, I could always expect a message from Danny, usually daily. Just simple messages like, "Hey, how are you?" or "How's your day going?" He would even text a classic "Good morning, beautiful" sometimes. I was never rude. I just answered in short, non-descriptive responses, hoping he would take the hint. After one particular day, as I was heading back to my apartment after work, I noticed someone was following me. Before I reached my apartment, I turned around to see who it was. It was Danny, and he was holding a bouquet of flowers. He asked me how I was, but I just felt uneasy. I felt uneasy because I never brought anyone to my apartment. All of the one night stands I had would be at hotels here in town. My apartment was usually a mess, so I preferred it this way. In this moment, I do admit I could have handled the situation better, but I was just so exhausted from the week, and honestly just really annoyed that he hadn't taken the hint. I didn't want anything serious. I mean, I had told him more than once. I was also freaked out because I never shared my address with him. This is what I brought up when he extended the flowers to me. I asked him, why was he following me? He just avoided the question altogether. and this made me even more upset. He then asked if I was free that upcoming weekend. I snapped at him, and I asked the question again. That carefree, kind guy I had met was instantly gone once I pressed again. His smile was quickly replaced with pure hatred. He got real close, and I instinctively backed up. But before I could back up any further, he grabbed my arm. He looked at me with those hollow eyes and told me I was a stuck-up bitch and didn't know a good thing if it hit me across the face. I was in complete, utter shock. I had never been in this type of situation before, and honestly, I was scared for my life. Just as quick as he grabbed my arm and called me a bitch, he let go of it, and his smile returned. He said he would see me that weekend at this steak restaurant downtown. He told me he had reserved a table for us. I just stared at him. And just like that, he left, heading the way he had come. I was definitely shaken up from the interaction with Danny, but I just focused on work to make myself forget about the whole thing. The weekend came, and I decided that I wanted to put in some more hours, so I kept working. When I got off Saturday night, I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from Danny and 5 text messages. My heart sank. This guy was turning out to be an absolute maniac. The first few texts were asking if I was on my way and if I was going to be late. But the last few texts were much darker. I could feel his hatred through my phone. He said I was going to regret standing him up, and that I was going to find out real soon what kind of a man he was. I did not feel safe. I decided to stay at a hotel nearby, close to work, for my safety. I settled in later that night after eating and taking a much needed shower. I couldn't shake the thought of what those texts meant. Was he really capable of doing something hurtful towards me? Even though I had told him more than once I didn't want a relationship. Now that I'm writing this, I know for a fact he's capable of something horrific. As I was laying down on the bed watching mindless TV, someone knocked on my door twice. I froze. I had the do not disturb sign on my door, and the only light coming from the room was from the TV. Whoever was knocking was not a part of the hotel staff. I got up and slowly walked to my door. I looked down to make sure it was locked, and it was. I poked my eye up to the peephole and almost screamed. Standing in the hallway was Danny, and he looked distraught. He was wearing a suit, and it was in shambles, like he just finished up a bar fight. His hair was a mess too. It looked like he had been pulling at it, and he was looking directly into the peephole. I didn't make a sound. I was hoping that he didn't know that this was my room, but my gut told me that he knew. Why else would he be here? He started to whisper through the door. He said, "I know you're in there, you stupid bitch. You made me look like a stupid loser, and I'm going to show you what happens to bitches that mess with me. I warned you." He wore a horrifying smile as he said all this. I slowly backed up and reached for the phone. I immediately called 911 and told them everything. Within 5 minutes, police officers were knocking at my door. I told them everything I knew, including what Danny looked like and what he had told me. Once they left, I triple checked that my door was locked, and eventually I fell asleep. I woke up the next morning to someone knocking at my door. My heart sank again. I was terrified. What if it was Danny? But when I got up and I checked the peephole, I was relieved. It was 2 police officers. It turns out that they found Danny later that night after I called them. He had booked the room directly next to mine. They arrested him, but the most horrifying thing they told me was what they found in his room. On his table, there were roofies, like the drug pill, like the date rape drug. He had like a whole baggie full of them, along with a steak knife and a lot of rope. I can only imagine what Danny had planned for me. That week, I packed all my stuff up, quit my job, and moved halfway across the country. I still have nightmares about Danny. I will always be on edge, wondering if he's out there watching me.